Alright guys, so I'm in the W205. You know, my main thing with the C-Class is I know how they ride and drive on the road, but with the W205 it was the interior that really takes me aback, and it really does even now, just being in it. I must say I love it. I absolutely love it. And I think Mercedes-Benz just does interiors really, really well. So check this out. Now everyone puts leather stitching when it's not really leather. That's annoying, but check out the red interior and the way everything slopes in. You know, I always love how Mercedes-Benz does this. This is so reminiscent of the W123, where they had the circular dials, you know. So there's a lot of heritage and a lot of the way they think about how they do their interiors. Look at it, check the steering wheel. It's not particularly circular, it's circular and then straight at the rear. It puts you in a real gorgeous driving position. Really makes me feel like just driving long distance. Now the only thing I ding this car about, guys, is that, you know, the height off the ground. These cars are just too low for Nairobi, and they're much lower than the W204, the previous C-Class. And you know, that C-Class was already lower than the previous one, which was the W202, which was my old Mercedes-Benz. And I love that vehicle. That one was actually pretty high off the ground. But you know, that's my only issue. And also the seats, not particularly comfortable. You know, they make these vehicles very sporty, and while being sporty, it's supposed to keep you in your seat, and so it just feels really rigid. I'm not a big fan of that, but I am a big fan of how Mercedes-Benz always did their seat adjustments. They've kept to this. I believe they've even patented that or whatever. The metallic switches everywhere, the hints of metallic, you know, on the circular dials. It's all particularly well thought out. Now this actually is reminiscent of new Lexuses and Toyota interiors, so I'm quite surprised by that. It's not particularly Mercedes-Benz like, but hey, I guess all cars are becoming similar. You know, you got the stitching here when it's not actually leather. I believe this is vinyl, and you got a little small screen over there. So, you know, there are a few things where I would ding the quality, but you can see how rigid that is. So the build quality is still good in these vehicles. Everything still feels nicely put together, but this particular vehicle has had a few reliability issues, according to what I've read and whatnot. So let me just take you on the exterior and show you what I think. So the exterior of this vehicle looks really nice. You can't really complain. There's no complaints. I think they did really good with the design, with the LEDs, with the sloping lights, and the way this vehicle sits even, as you can see. Now my only issue is that it's too low to the ground. This kind of vehicle in Nairobi is just an absolute nightmare because it's too low to the ground. I was just trying to get over a bump right now, almost scraped this little lip. So, you know, Mercedes-Benz, back in the day, they had plenty here in Kenya because they were built a bit high off the ground and they were really reliable. But now they've started making them too low. And so it's not particularly ideal for Africa. And a lot of people who probably own these in Kenya are full-time worried about going over certain roads and whether they can pass in certain areas, which is not something you want to be worried about when you buy your brand new Mercedes-Benz. And yeah, so that's just a concern and something you have to watch out for. Sitting in the interior of this vehicle, in the rear seats, you got nice headroom, though I'm almost touching. So if I'm honest, being 6'1", it's not adequate. I'm already touching, my head is already touching. I'm already feeling small in this vehicle. So anyways, that's not particularly good. I never felt like that in my W202, my previous 1996 Benz. So Mercedes-Benz, a few things you need to check on, to be honest. But apart from that, yeah, rear seat passengers, you're not going to be happy here on very long journeys. But short journeys, you should be fine. And the concerns I have of this vehicle are mainly the height off the ground. Otherwise, in terms of the engines, you should be fine. It's Mercedes-Benz, whether you go for the diesel or you go for the petrol. But the W205, I have heard a few issues or reliability issues, which has steered me away from getting one of these. But the main thing is the height off the ground. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure you hit like, subscribe, comment down below as I check out a bunch of cars and check you guys through them. In fact, while doing this today, I just met one of you subscribers, so I really appreciate you guys. Thank you for coming out. Yeah, this has been the W205, my impressions, not particularly a full review or anything, but my impressions of the W205.